Becky from Old Man Mountain here. Today we're going to install an Elkhorn as a front rack. For this installation, we'll use a 10mm box wrench, a 4 and 5mm hex wrench, torque wrench with a 4mm hex, and anti-seize or grease. This installation will be using a fit kit, so we will also need a 6mm hex wrench, side cutters, scissors, and pliers to tighten the zip ties. The pieces that come with your rack are the rack uprights, long and short extenders, your rack deck, and hardware. The first thing we need to do is figure out how we're going to install the rack to the bike. This has eyelets, but they're for fenders, so we're going to through axle mount it with one of our fit kits. Check with your bike manufacturer to make sure your eyelets are rated for racks. When axle mounting, remove your axle and compare it to the axle that came in your fit kit. The thread pitch should match and the length should be plus or minus 2 millimeters. Apply grease to the threads and shaft of your axle and install with a 6mm hex. Torque the axle to 6 Newton meters. Next, we're going to put the plastic washer on the axle and using hardware kit 4, attach the uprights to the axle. When eyelet mounting your rack, make sure you put the spacer in between the upright and the eyelet. Make sure the slotted sections are facing the center of the bike. Next, using hardware with grease or anti-seize, we'll attach the upright. Now with the uprights in place and perpendicular to the ground, we'll attach the deck. The deck is asymmetrical, so you can have the long part in the front or the back, depending on how it fits your bike. For hubs 135 millimeters or narrower, the uprights will attach on the inside of the deck. Prepare hardware kit 8 by installing the lock washer first and then the flat washer. Now install the deck. For forks without upper eyelets, we'll install mounting pucks. First, we'll cut the clear protective tape so the ends don't overlap and install it in line with the rim. Be sure to use the provided zip ties because they're super strong and UV stable. Use a pair of pliers to get the zip ties as snug as you can. Now we'll attach the extenders to the pucks or eyelets. Make sure the slotted side faces the rack. You may need to bend your extenders depending on if your fork eyelets are bent forwards or back. To bend your extenders, we like to wrap them in a paper towel and put them in a vise for a nice clean bend. Using hardware kit 2, we'll install the extender to the rack. Now that our rack is installed, we need to check our torque. The axle and puck bolts will be 3 Newton meters and the other rack bolts will be 6 Newton meters. Now that zip ties have had time to rest, we'll tighten them one more time and clip to length. Alright guys, now that you've done it, you got your rack on, now you can get your ride on.